Time for tonight's rewrite. Let's go back to the summer of 2009 when the Republican attack machine was aimed at President Obama for rescuing General Motors. June 1st of last year, John Boehner said this: "Does anyone really believe that politicians and bureaucrats in Washington can successfully steer a multinational corporation to economic viability? It's time for the administration to fully explain what the exit strategy is to get the U.S. government out of the boardroom once and for all." Also on June 1st of last year, this from South Carolina Senator Jim DeMint: "Billions have been wasted and tens of thousands of jobs have been lost. Now the government has forced taxpayers to buy these failing companies without any plausible plan for profitability. Does anyone think the same government that plans to double the national debt in 5 years will turn GM around in the same time?" Again, on June 1st, we heard this from Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Steele: "No matter how much the president spins GM's bankruptcy as good for the economy, it is nothing more than another government grab of a private company and another handout to the union cronies who helped bankroll his presidential campaign. This is the real change President Obama has in mind for America: government ownership of our economy, financed with irresponsible and reckless government spending and debt, and no jobs to show for it." Other Republican lawmakers called it a disaster, the president's, quote, war on capitalism, and, quote, the road to socialism. Instead, about 16 months after the president used socialism to stop the bleeding of capitalism, this was the scene at the New York Stock Exchange this morning. The opening bell cut short for the sound of a roaring Chevy Camaro engine. With GM's newest models lined up outside, the auto giant returned to the big board with an initial public offering topping $20 million, making it the biggest IPO in American history. The biggest, bigger than UPS, Kraft Foods, AT&T Wireless, even bigger than Visa. So, to answer Mr. Boehner's question from last June, does anyone really believe that politicians and bureaucrats in Washington can successfully steer a multinational corporation to economic viability? Let's go to today's headlines. From the New York Times: GM shares surge on market debut. The Wall Street Journal: GM shares rise in return to market. Reuters: General Motors riding high with IPO and Chevy Volt. And as for the claims from Michael Steele and Jim DeMint, billions of wasted, tens of thousands of jobs lost, and government ownership of our economy financed with reckless government spending and debt and no jobs to show for it, well, the president had something to say about that this afternoon.
American workers are back at the assembly line manufacturing the high-quality, fuel-efficient, American-made cars of tomorrow, capable of going toe-to-toe with any other manufacturer in the world. In fact, there were plenty of doubters and naysayers who said it couldn't be done, who were prepared to throw in the towel and read the American auto industry last rites. We would have lost more than 1 million jobs across all 50 states. It would have also resulted in economic chaos.
So, Mr. Steele, Mr. Boehner, Senator DeMint, here's your rewrite. Repeat after me. Way to go, Mr. President. You saved the American auto industry.